And I'll close with probably the biggest issue that awaits for the governor and particularly for the General Assembly in the year ahead. The funding and structure for K through 12, or actually pre-K through 12 education, for public school funding and excellence and achievement and innovation in our public schools. There's a commission that has asked for a third year to continue its work. They weren't done by this time last year, so they needed an extra year. They still have lots of stuff on their plate to get done, but the Kirwan Commission looks to be bringing this ship in by the end of this calendar year, which will turn into legislation for next year. The issues that are on the table affect lots and lots of dollars and affect some of our most precious policy outcomes, the well-being and outcomes for students in our public schools. I'll just say the pieces that are coming together are going to be fiscally challenging. The idea of broadening access to publicly funded or publicly provided pre-K is going to be nuts and bolts complicated, as well as dollars and cents complicated. Just where do you do it, and where do you find the staff to be licensed and approved and so forth? Where do you actually house the kids and so forth? These are going to be difficult challenges. Where do you find the money if there's going to be public provision? There's going to be free pre-K for at least a variety of 3 and 4 year old kids. This is going to be expensive and difficult. The next piece that the Kirwan Commission seems to be putting together is a larger investment in dollars and cents, but also in training into the teaching profession. And what does that mean exactly for our financial commitment and taxpayer commitment to public schools? That's a big unknown. It may have a multi-year phase-in, but it probably is going to come with a price tag that starts in the B's. So at the state level, this is a big fiscal commitment, and there's still 2 more working groups of the Kirwan Commission that have yet to report out of what their next pieces of the puzzle look like. But the possibility for this plan to be one that costs $2 or $3 billion a year after you phase it in over some stretch of time will be a fiscal challenge for a state that already is looking at a looming structural deficit of $1 billion or $1.5 billion. The state's general fund budget is about $18 billion right now. Finding $2 or $3 billion more is a challenge on both the revenue and expenditure side. So a lot of talk about commitment to education and educational outcomes, but this will be a challenge at both the state, and it'd be naive to not anticipate this also becomes a fiscal challenge at the county level, whether it's directly as the legislation asks more of counties, or whether it's indirectly like we saw last go around with the Thornton Commission, where that was nominally charging the state to do more for K through 12, but one of the ways they found the way to do that was by shifting the cost of teacher retirement in part onto counties, by finding highway user revenues to avail themselves of that used to go to local roads and bridges and for some time went to the state general fund. We've seen how that act progressed. So county governments are financial stakeholders, both in the outcomes from our public schools, but also in the financing and so forth. So with that, that's a really quick whirlwind on policy issues.